and welcome back to the Cabbage Patch. I'm Dad.
I'm Tommy.
And Gus isn't here again because Gus didn't want to play this either. And today, what did we play?
We played Pacific Rim Extinction.
Pacific Rim Extinction. So we've been playing some giant robot games. We played Battletech, we played Adeptus Titanicus, and now we played Pacific Rim Extinction. So this is another miniatures combat game. So I'm going to put the guy up here. It comes with pre-painted miniatures. So the box set just comes with one Jaeger, which are the good guy robots, and one kaiju, which are the monsters. And if you buy expansions, they come with more models. So we actually have one expansion, so we've got 3 kaijus and 3 Jaegers. We played a skirmish game where it was basically 2 Jaegers versus 2 kaiju. The way the game works when you're not playing a canned scenario is you have a number of points that you can choose, right? Oops, sorry about that. So on the playing cards, there's a point value here, and that's 4. So Tommy picked one that was worth 4 and another one that was worth 5. 5? Yeah, I think it was worth 5. So I had a fair number of points to choose from because you double the value. So that's 18? 18, right?
Yeah.
So I had 18 points to choose from because Jaegers are worth 2. The Jaegers have a point value here. This one's worth 4. But each pilot that you add to them has a point value as well. So the idea is to pick a combination. Let me see if I can put this in the frame. Pick a combination of pilots and Jaegers that add up to an appropriate point value, and I think I was at exactly 18 as well. Couple of things. The Jaegers have movement. Everybody's got a movement value, a skill value, a power value, and a defense value, in addition to their point value. And the Jaegers are special because it takes 2 pilots, and the more matches you have on the pilot cards, the more dice you basically get to roll during the game. And then each Jaeger's gets a special ability, and the kaijus get 2 special abilities, one for attack, one for defense. They don't get pilots, but they're generally a little more powerful and they roll more dice to begin with. And then on the cards there are these tracks. This one is charge, power, and ammunition, and different attacks during the game do different use those tracks differently. The kaijus have something called kaiju blood and rage, right? And those let them power their special abilities as well. So it plays a little bit like Adeptus Titanicus in that when you decide what you're doing, you pick one of these cards, which is one of the orders you can give it, and the orders can be different kinds of attacks or different kinds of resource regain abilities, right? You play the cards face down next to the model. Then the interesting thing that happens next is you roll this dice to see how many models you get to activate. So we were playing a 2 model versus 2 model game, and if you only rolled, I think you can see that symbol. There it is, that symbol. I could only activate one of my models. You had to roll the 2 to activate 2 models, and if you got a terrible roll and there's a blank, you didn't get to activate any of your models. But when you activate your models, you turn the cards over. It says something about what they do. This is a melee attack card. Tommy on this particular model had also a melee attack card. And then you roll dice. And you roll dice. The attacker rolls their skill plus their power, and in the case of the Jaegers, plus their additional skill. And the kaijus just roll their skill plus their power. And what you're trying to do is get more successes than the opponent. So this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes plus a critical, which means I get to roll another dice. These exclamation points are triggers, and they happen special. Another trigger, so I rolled 3 triggers and 5 successes. The defender rolls their defense number of dice, which is usually about the same number unless they're being hit from behind. And if I get at least 5 dice and 5 successes in defense, the attack doesn't do any damage. If I get less than 5 successes in defense, or less than whatever the number was rolled, the attack does successfully deal damage. And the number difference, there's a table in here, so 1 to 3 additional successes means you do 1 damage to the opposition. And the way you do damage is your opponent picks 1 card at random from your hand of orders, and then you take that card and you place it damage side up, and there may be additional effects that are invoked then. For instance, it might do extra damage, or it might remove one of my pilots, or it might automatically kill a guy, etc. And each Jaeger only has, most of them have 3. This guy has 4. I think both of your kaiju had 3. So 3 cards out of your hand. On that 3rd card, you're dead. The model's removed from the table, etc. The game starts with no end conditions, so you keep track of each round. At the end of the round, you roll some dice to see if the game is over. And the more rounds you play, the more dice you roll to see if the game is over. And as soon as you roll 4 successes with those dice, the game ends, and you add up victory points.
He beat me by 3 points because he killed my team leader.
I beat you by 3 points because I beat your team leader. So one of the models gets designated as team leader. Then at the end of the game, to score, you pick one of these bonus scoring cards at random and add up things. Yeah. Jaegers get points for, I also beat you by 3 points because you didn't bother to destroy any buildings. Jaegers get points for buildings that are intact. Kaiju get points for buildings that are destroyed.
I was focusing on not dying.
Right. Kaijus and Jaegers get points for destroying other guys. They also get points for damaging other guys. And that's it. It's a pretty fast game. I don't remember how long it lasts, but I think it was about the same amount of time as Adeptus Titanicus, which is probably about 30, 35 minutes, something like that. And we played a more complicated version than the first time we played. The first time we just played 1 Jaeger against 1 Kaiju. And Tommy beat me by destroying all my Kaijus. And
pilots.
And there weren't any other victory points to have. So
second and first, same as the first. This guy died to this dude.
Yeah, that guy died to that dude. Mm-hmm. But that's it. That's the game. What'd you like about it?
It's just good. I like the combat. The dudes are pretty crunchy.
Dudes are pretty crunchy. It's pretty easy to finally knock somebody out. It starts out like it's going to feel slow, but it doesn't go very slow.
The character designs, which are the character designs from Pacific Rim, which are already terrific.
Right. These are
They're pretty good.
Pretty cool models. The kaiju models are really detailed. They're all really detailed, and they come pre-painted, so we didn't have to do anything.
Chainsaw swords.
I liked the models too. I think the action is fast. We got one thing wrong early in the game, where when a model is in melee with someone else, they're not allowed to move. And I think we each moved our models a little bit after that. You're only allowed to move backwards. You're not allowed to actually take your full movement. I both like and don't like the fact that I might not be able to move anybody. So that adds a little bit of excitement to the game. The damage model is pretty straightforward. There isn't a lot to keep track of, but there are a lot of dice to roll. And these custom dice, I think the most you might be able to roll is 10 dice, but you're rolling a lot of dice. Just like Adeptus Titanicus, actually, you're rolling a lot of dice, except for this one, you're rolling a lot of them at once, right? So it's got a lot in common with that. The movement works the same way as Adeptus Titanicus as well. Instead of measuring in centimeters, you're measuring with this ruler here, and nobody can move more than about 4 of these hexes, which works out to be about 14 centimeters or so. So it's very similar in terms of the way the movement works, the way the attacks work. I can destroy somebody before they get a chance to do their action that turn, just like in Adeptus Titanicus. Actually, I guess just like in BattleTech, their damage resolves at the same time. So you now play, and for scale, I think you can see this. This is a Titan and a Kaiju. It is a Kaiju, but it's also a Titan or a Jaeger.
They're
bigger. And then for scale, the BattleTech guys are smaller still, and this is a pretty big battle mech. So, you have an opinion on which of the 3 games that we've played with robots that you like the most?
I like I mean, I like them all equally. They're 3 different things.
Okay.
Like, each one of them suits a different one of my fancies.
Okay, well that's good to know. You can play with the same maps in the buildings. The buildings are all pretty much interchangeable, so that's pretty cool. The game does come with these cardboard buildings. They're a little fiddly to put together, and I think I'm going to glue them together so that they're even, because they do fall apart while they're in the box. But that's it. Anything else to add?
I have to say that this dude is the MVP.
Yeah, he destroys lots of guys. I'm going to take this, tighten off the table. He's destroyed lots of guys. Next time maybe we'll play with all 3 of them.
What does MVP mean, though?
Most valuable player. So, there's some cool monsters. Anyway, it's a good game. I enjoyed it. You ready to give it a score?
Yeah.
We're going to do the 1 to 5 again since there's only 2 of us. What are you going to give it? You give it a 4? I think I'm going to give it a 4 as well. I'd give it a 5. I really do like playing it. I'll play it anytime anybody wants to because it's neat. I think it does some things different from Adeptus that are cool, and the models are really cool. So I'm going to give it a 4. So it gets a solid 8.
8.
All right, so I'd say cabbages. I think that's it. Anything else to add before we go? No?
Shrike best girl.
All right. Well, in that case, I think it's time to do the outro. You ready?
Yep. Subscribe, like, hit that bell, leave a comment if you wish. Eat plenty of cabbages. Not us, though. Or else the kaiju apocalypse.
All righty. Thank you so much.